Hello, everybody. Welcome to Clever Investments. Today, let's talk about health savings account and how you can manage to maximize your savings. So, HSA account is a tax advantaged account. If your medical insurance plan is a high deductible health plan, it often comes with a HSA account that you can contribute for tax money. Your contributions to HSA is tax deductible for your federal tax. But for California, you still need to pay the state tax for it. And the money in the HSA account can grow tax-free, but the gain also need to pay the California state tax, which is at the highest 13.3%. And for the HSA account, if you have a qualified medical expense, then you can withdraw money to pay the medical expense, and this amount of money is tax-free. And one important note is that you can get reimbursement at any time. As long as you have your receipt, you can get your reimbursement even after many years. So make sure to keep your receipt. For example, you can take a picture and store them in some place that's safe, like Google Drive, Dropbox, and so on. And after you are 65 years old, you can withdraw money tax-free as long as it is for medical expense. But if you are very healthy and you do not have much medical expense, after 65, you can still withdraw money without penalty. But because this money never paid the federal tax, when you withdraw it, it's similar to your traditional IRA. So you need to pay for the federal tax. And the amount that you gained in the account, you also need to pay California state tax. And this money after the withdrawal, since you paid tax, you can use it for any purpose, not just for medical expense purpose. So the contribution limit of HSA account increases every year. And for this year, 2025, for individual, you can contribute up to 4,300. For family, it's around 8,500. And if you are 55 years or older, you can contribute another $1,000 more. So the strategy I would recommend to you is called delayed reimbursement. So basically, first, of course, you need to invest your HSA so that it can grow. And most HSA account give you several choices of mutual fund. And I would recommend you to pick a S&P 500 fund, invest in it and never touch it. And then if you get medical bills, you can pay the bills from your regular account, not your HSA account. So now your HSA account can grow tax-free. So at a much later time, after your HSA account has grown handsomely, you can reimburse yourself from the HSA account. You can withdraw money from it, and all this money are tax-free. Or except in California, you still need to pay for the California state tax, but that's a much lower rate compared to the federal tax rate you saved. And if in the end, after you are very old, you never spend much on medical expense, by the way, that congratulations. That means your health is great. If you do that, you can still withdraw money by treating it similar to a traditional IRA, as long as you are more than 65 years old. Then when you withdraw, you need to pay the income tax and also the amount that grew also need to pay the California tax. So the tax rate would be higher because this is regular income tax. If you live in California, it's up to 50.3%. This tax rate is higher than the maximum long-term capital gain tax rate, which is 33.1%. So that means if you didn't use much money for medical expense and you are only using HSA as a traditional era, you may be paying higher tax than necessary. But after you are old, maybe you have a lot of medical expense. And if you can use most money in HSA for medical expense, then the delayed reimbursement is a better strategy because you can pay these medical expenses tax-free. In this example, let's compare the two strategies, whether you get reimbursement now or later. On the column on the left, assume you get reimbursement now, and the two columns on the right is assuming you get reimbursement later. And on the top, we assume the highest tax rate we can get. For example, for long-term capital gain tax in California, it's 33%. Assume to start with, we have $2,000 in your HSA and taxable account respectively. So assume you need to pay for $2,000 of medical bill. When you do reimbursement now, you withdraw from HSA, so HSA becomes empty. But when you do reimbursement later, you withdraw from your taxable account. So your taxable account becomes empty, but your HSA account still has $2,000 left. After many years, assume all the account has grown by 10x to 20K. So first, you need to reimburse the $2,000. So on the column on the left, you no longer need to do that because you already reimbursed. But on the column on the right, you can withdraw $2,000 from your HSA tax-free. And because you already paid the medical bill, so you put the $2,000 to your taxable account. And those $2,000 can continue to grow after you invest. And now assume there's a new medical bill cost you $10,000. So if you do reimbursement now, you have to pay the $10,000 out of your taxable account because your HSA is empty. So for the $10,000, if you calculate the long-term capital gain and also remember that 10% of it is cost basis. So after some calculation, you can find out, okay, in order to pay for the $10,000 of a bill, you need to pay a lot more tax. And after the tax and the bill, you only have less than $5,000 left. On the other hand, if you do reimbursement later, you can pay the $10,000 almost tax-free because only the gross part need to pay 13.3% of the California tax. And you still have $6,640 left in your HSA. And remember, there's another $2,000 left in your taxable account. So total, it's $8,600, much higher than $5,000 if you do reimbursement now. So this is assuming you have a big medical cost. If you don't have many medical bills to pay, then in the end, you need to withdraw them for regular purpose. And for your taxable account, you pay 33.1% on long-term capital gain. But for your reimbursement later HSA account, you need to pay a higher tax, which is 37% plus 13.3%. This is a higher tax. That means if you're really, really healthy, this strategy may not work for you. But for most people, if you do reimbursement later, it would save you some money down the road. This is because you are using HSA as a tax-free investment vehicle and give you tax benefit in the future. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.